Hello, I'm Ashley with the Link Fund, and we had the pleasure of sitting down with a very amazing person, Mark Howell, as he told us his story of his battle with cancer. We encourage you to please share this video and Mark's inspiring story. Thanks.
Mark Howell, 31 years old. I'm from Brighton, Michigan. I've been married for 3 years now and have a beautiful wife and about a 1-year-old son. He just turned 1 a couple weeks ago. And was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma late October of last year. And shortly after the diagnosis, had a big surgery called whipple, and everything kind of happened real quick. I was diagnosed, and within 3 weeks I was having the surgery. They had to remove the head of my pancreas, gallbladder, intestine, part of my colon, and some other fun parts as well internally. So it was kind of rewired. Was kind of given a 50-50 chance to make it through. Luckily made it through. Had some complications during surgery, but all in all, everything turned out well, and it was kind of a miracle that pulled through. So was released from the hospital 3 weeks later, and during recovery at home, had to do a lot of follow-up work to find out the exact diagnosis of what I had. And through that process of sending the tissue samples and everything off to what seemed like every hospital across the land, we finally, I was diagnosed with melanoma. And so we've been kind of chasing a cure ever since about February of last year.
So after the big whipple surgery you had, where did you go from there?
So from there, we had like a couple months downtime where we were searching for the diagnosis of what I had, and once it was positively identified as melanoma in February, I started treatment at U of M, and I went through a full treatment cycle of the treatment's called Yervoy. It's an immunotherapy that tries to boost your immune system and kill the melanoma cells kind of naturally using your immune system. And so so I went through that. That lasted about 8 weeks or so. That kind of took us through May. After post-treatment scans showed that I didn't have a very positive response to the Yervoy. It didn't seem to suppress the cancer, and it was spreading still. We opted to have what tumors remained surgically removed. And so in late July of this year, I had a second surgery to remove, at the time, what we thought to be 4 tumors. At the time of surgery, there was a 5th one that had also grown, and 2 of the tumors were compressing my left kidney, and so they also had to remove the kidney with that. And so coming out of that surgery, it was apparent that whatever cancer I had inside my body was still continuing to spread at a microscopic level, even though they got everything that they could visually see. And the post-op scans again showed more spreading of tumors throughout my body. So, currently as it stands today, we're looking at, I still have some more tumors growing in my abdomen and in my neck, and surgery isn't obviously a very good option because it's not taking care of the problem. So we need to find a treatment that's going to take care of the issues at hand. So in that journey, we have, we've spoken with my primary care physician at U of M, who's been kind of handling treatment to date, and we've also, through the help of local government and supporters, gone to the NCI in Maryland, and we've gotten their opinion as well. And at this time, I'm just not eligible for many of the treatments or most of the treatments available to melanoma patients. So I'm looking at doing a trial through U of M, and that's actually starting in about 2 weeks from now.
When you first found out, how did you and your family feel about it and handle it?
So I remember the moment distinctly because I had gone in for a CAT scan, and my doctor's office had their fax machine down for actually several days, and my stomach, I was having like a lot of pain, and I kept calling the doctor's office every day wondering if they had the results of my CAT scan and everything. And they finally called and like, all right, the machine's back up and running. We have your results. When are you available to come in? And I was like, well, I'm available whenever. And they're like, well, we'd like to see you immediately. And I knew then it wasn't going to be very good news. So I was kind of already prepped, and I called my dad to let him know that I was leaving work to go get the results. And I remember him asking if I wanted him to go with me, and I was like, no, I got it. That's fine. So I went in there, and the doc kind of gave me the news, and sort of in a state of shock. You don't ever think like something like that'll happen to you. You hear about stuff all the time, and it's never really a reality till it happens to you or someone you love. And they told me I had basically a giant mass on the head of my pancreas. And the first question I remember asking the doc out of my mouth was, is this kind of like a death sentence? If that's cancer? And he said, well, no. And I was like, okay. It wasn't exactly the oomph of confidence I was looking for, but so I think reality set in very quickly that it was extremely dangerous and it had to be taken care of right away. But it takes a lot to really get me worked up. So I just kind of all right, that's not great news, but let's search for an opinion from a surgeon that was recommended by my doctor, and so I'm going home and having that discussion with Christina, my wife, and just kind of filling her in on everything. And granted, this is literally 2 weeks after the birth of our son, so it's been a wild couple weeks. But I think ultimately those first moments, days, weeks, what have you, were scary. I don't know. I just had I have overwhelming support from family and friends in the whole area, and I was never really overwhelmed with a sense of doom and gloom or any amount of pessimism. Yeah, I mean, in short, I just never really got too high or low. It was just kind of a well, what's next? These are the facts in front of us, and we have to take it head on, and it just is what it is, and there's no time to sit around and cry about it. So, let's move on and see what we have to get done.
You're such an inspiration to everybody, and you and your family are such great people. Throughout everything, everybody that knows you said the same thing about you, how positive you are, which you should be. There's no reason not to be. How have you stayed so positive? How do you stay so positive?
I think, from the very first, I remember distinctly again, like I think there's a few moments you just kind of grasp onto when you're going through something, kind of life-altering. And I remember the first trip through U of M when we were kind of searching for answers still, and just walking through the hospital and seeing, the one that always gets me is seeing so many children, with bald heads or what have you, and it's apparent that they're trying to fight something, either whether it be cancerous or another disease or whatever. And here I am, 31 years old, having the ability to at least live that portion of my life, and there's always people that are much worse off and very cheerful about it and kind of take life as it comes. And I think that a lot of inspiration that I get are from seeing those kids just walk the halls of hospitals and have a smile on their face, and it's like I have no idea how much pain they're in or not in. I don't, they might not live another day, and they're maybe 6 years old, and they haven't lived, half their life at all. And I've had, plenty of an opportunity to live life to its fullest and everything. And I think that, it's just, I'm also a big believer on, kind of like mind over matter type thing. And, crying about something or being negative, all that does is, make any situation harder on yourself and those around you. And I think regardless of the situation, if you can take any good out of it, whether that be for yourself, for your family, for family and friends around you, if you can use that to inspire, others around you in a positive light, I think it's a great opportunity. And so I kind of look at it as, God has a purpose, God has a plan for everybody and everything. And, I don't think that any one person has ever given anything that they can't handle. And so, this is just the hand that I was dealt, and I'm just trying to use it as an opportunity to maybe inspire someone who might be facing much worse news in front of them. They might be having, a terrible day, year, life, what have you. And if my story can help cheer them up or inspire them to be a better person or look at things from a different perspective, then I think anything that I go through is more than worth it at that point. So, not to mention I have a beautiful 1-year-old baby to, if I sit around crying about myself and at the end of the day, whether tomorrow my fate were to come to an end because of cancer or a bus hits me on the road, I need to cherish every moment I have with my son and my family, and at the end of the day, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So for anybody, and so I think you just have to make the most out of every moment. And I think in my situation, for me personally, has really made me, cherish every moment I have and cherish all of those precious moments that maybe normally I would have taken for granted before.
Where do you go to, or who do you look to for support?
So, the primary, obviously my wife and, my immediate family, but, and that's, I guess not a given in everybody's situation, but my family's awesome, and so that's, they've been there every step of the way. And then, just the community of really Livingston County in general, and even kind of the state of Michigan, really, everyone's just been amazingly supportive. We had a benefit back in January of 2013, and like 600 plus people came out to it. It was an awesome event in general, but seeing all the people kind of rally behind a cause, whether that be me or anything else, I think it's a big testament for what kind of people are in the community we live in. And all too often we hear the negative side of that, but I think it's an amazing story too, to hear about so many people kind of coming out of the woodwork to support a cause, whether that be me or someone else. So there's, when the story broke on Fox and some other places, I had people, randomly donating or sending me Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages, whatever, just offering up advice, prayers, thoughts, support in any fashion, and it's very humbling, to say the least. So,
if people want to donate to you and your family to help with medical bills and whatnot, where would they go?
Yeah, so there's 2 primary, places they could go. We have a GoFundMe link set up online, Cancer Battle Fund for Mark Howell, I think it's called. And then there's also a local store here in Brighton, Cooper and Binkley Jewelers. They are always willing and able to accept if people want to mail in checks or cash or whatever. They're always willing and able to get those, where they need to go. So.
All of us here at the Link Fund would like to thank Mark Howell for taking the time to come and tell us his story. Please, we encourage you again to share this video. Also, to support Mark and donate to him, please go to www.gofundme.com/10IO40 or click in the link in the comments below. Thank you.